Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm Jeff Howe, joined by my colleague and good friend Rod Babers. We're talking about Texas on the road and Arch Manning's first career road start, and what a daunting task it is going on the road with number 1 Texas to number 3 Ohio State on Saturday. This edition of On Texas Football is brought to you by our friends at Hargrove Roofing. Rod will tell you more about Hargrove here in just a little bit. But Rod, I want to start out with talking about Texas on the road, how good Texas has been in road games under Sark. Got to go all the way back to the midpoint of the 2022 season. That game where I forgot Quinn smashed his finger in a car door that week going to Oklahoma State, and it was windy, and Sark stopped running the ball with Bijan and Roschon for some reason. Oklahoma State has a comeback victory. That's the last time Texas lost a game on the road, Rod. It's 11 true road wins in a row.
Don't forget about Xavier Worthy later. Found out he also had a bum hand too.
Yeah, it's kind of tough when your best receiver's literally playing one-handed. 11 straight road wins for Texas. It's the longest active streak in the country. Rod, in the AP poll era, in the history of this program, this is only the 6th double-digit win streak in true road games. And as I was doing my research on this, Rod Babers, I saw, you know what? Rod's been a part of this. From 2000, a trip to Colorado, all the way up until a loss to Texas Tech at the end of the 2002 season. Those Mac Brown Longhorns, Rod, you were a part of, won 11 true road games in a row, including you went in the same year. You went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and got a win. Thank you, Jamal Lord, for targeting Nathan Basher in the red zone. And thank you, Marcus Tubbs, for blocking a field goal to get a win in Manhattan, Kansas, over a ranked good K-State team. So, Rod, I ask you, what does it take for a team to get to a point where you almost feel unbeatable when you go on the road?
Man, you just honestly, you just reminded me of some good times, then some dark times. Because losing on the road, a true road game to Texas Tech in Lubbock. Cliff Kingsbury, Wes Welker had a little coming out party. We go to a BCS game. We win that game actually. And so that hurt. And then we started it's just crazy. So you said we started a win streak, a road win streak versus Colorado.
Yeah, I don't want to remind you about the game before that was a loss.
Yes, exactly. And then
I don't want to go there, but
the history with Colorado, because that was a neutral site, by the way. Random little factoid we can discuss later.
Yeah.
Sark's got to start conquering neutral site games.
Yes.
I believe he's only 4-6, something like that, in neutral site games. Because of the playoffs now, you're playing more of those, and you're playing against, better coaches, obviously, better teams when that's the case. But what it takes is overcoming adversity. Adversity is something it's inevitable on the road. You just don't know how it's going to manifest itself, right? But it will materialize in one way or another. It could be, knock on wood, injuries for you. It was injuries for us. Some matter of fact, in that Texas Tech game, we lost like 3 starters on defense. Just boom, just went down in that game. It could be injuries, so depth's got to be a big issue. It could be your game plan could be flawed in that game. Maybe it's the crowd. It could be a number of things. Some certain guys who are just not, maybe their game's not translating well to that hostile environment, whatever it may be. But that's what you got to be able to overcome. And when you can have a formula to do that as a team, where something that is, disadvantageous to you, it doesn't necessarily debilitate you as a team. It's something that can strengthen you and bring you closer together. So to me, it's all about how you overcome adversity. In the games that we lost, and I remember, we didn't handle the adversity really well.
And Rod, adversity is going to hit this team, and
it's going to happen.
We'll talk later in the week about playing clean, because Sark mentioned it in a Monday press conference, and I think that may be the theme of this game for Texas. There's a lot, but I think it may boil down to that, because one thing I noticed, Rod, as I'm doing this research, and I looked at those 5 other double-digit win streaks, Darrell Royal had 2, one in the early 60s and one in the Wishbone era, right smack dab in the middle of that 30-game winning streak, the school record. Fred Akers had one in the early 80s, and then Mack had one 2000 to 2002, and then from 2003 to 2006. It's not a coincidence, Rod, that when you've got really good players, you're suddenly a really good road team. I think that's the other thing. We could talk about routine and everything else, but whether it's through recruiting, the portal, player development, This is a sign that Sark has Texas right where you want this program competing for a national championship.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then some of those teams you're beating on the road, right? Some of those programs that you have on that resume, a part of that road win streak, at Alabama, at Michigan, you've actually been able to end some of the best home win streaks for some of these storied programs, and they're going to be trying to do that again versus Ohio State. So there's no doubt about it. Sark has a formula. And it helps his formula if he has the run game going, and things like that, like certain things that will travel. The defense, I think the defense will travel. You get certain elements to the game that Sark can depend on, and I think part of his formula, that's he can depend on those things and lean on those things to help him win this game, and he'll just find a way offensively because he's a great offensive mind to be able to put enough points on the board to win the game if he can lean on some of those other areas for complementary football.
It's fun covering a game like this because you've got so much to talk about throughout the week, but I don't want to just load up on my first trip to the buffet. I want to space this out, make sure we got plenty of runway here. But Rod, I when you take into consideration that it's Arch's first road start, now we've seen Arch, he's played in some high leverage games. He's made a couple of starts, really 2 3/4, because that UTSA game, he came in late, early second quarter and basically played the rest of the game. So you can count that however you want. But we've seen Sark in some of these big games, especially some of these road games, take the ball first and try to be the aggressor right out of the gate. If he does that, I'm going to take that as a sign that, number one, he's really confident in this team, and two, he really trusts Arch. Not to say that he doesn't if they defer or whatever happens, but if he wins the toss and takes the ball, I got to think, Rod, that's a great sign for how Sark feels about his quarterback and this team.
Yeah, I've been wondering too, is he going to unleash Arch? Right? Yeah. Everybody kind of feels like, oh, he's going to get him in the groove, get him in the rhythm, get him like, is he just going to say, nah, F it, man, I'm going to unleash this dude? Everybody knows what his ceiling is. Why am I going to, kind of dabble into this thing, and try to ease my way in? No, man, we're going full throttle, all gas, no brakes. I've been wondering about that because, look at the sample size, right, of the true road games you're talking about. And let's look at when Texas is playing a team with like talent. All right. So that takes away most of the Big 12 teams in that sample size. It takes away a lot of the SEC teams. Pretty much you're talking about, you left with Bama, Michigan, and then A&M. I'll give Aggie some credit there. And honestly, I'm going to throw out the Aggie one because you were in the state of Texas. All right. So I'll throw that one out there too. Look at the Bama and the Michigan sample. The running game didn't work really well. It didn't travel. It didn't travel for you. But the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, the Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size, but is because Sark was so deep in his bag because he had all offseason to prepare for it, it didn't matter. It was almost like he expected. He was like, nah, the run game's going to be just that's a placeholder for us offensively right now. Like that's just something that's symbolic. But I'm deep in my bag, so we're going to showcase this offense and this passing game. And I'm starting to think that may be the case again. That the run game, when I said when you went against Bama, you had 37 for 105. Against Michigan, it was 32 for 143. Hell, Ryan Wingo, I think, was your leading rusher versus Michigan, but it didn't matter. He was ready to unleash Quinn Ewers, right? And he unleashed them versus Alabama too. I almost wonder if he's gonna unleash the beast with Arch in this game, and almost like, nah, if the run game works, great, that's awesome. Then we definitely will annihilate Ohio State. But if you're studying recent history, I wouldn't go into that game assuming your run game's gonna work, but I would go into that game assuming Sark's gonna be deep in his bag.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. We'll get into Arch Manning here in just a second, but Rod, right now, let everybody know, if you've got roofing needs, get in touch with our friends at Hargrove Roofing.
Oh, yes, indeed, folks. If you've had, severe weather in your area, or maybe it's been a long time you've had a roof inspection, or maybe you've been meaning to get your roof done, reach out to our friends over at Hargrove Roofing, folks. They have offices all over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, but they are the most pro burnt orange roofing company out there. And right now offering a free roof inspection. Reach out to them at 512-645-3202. Know who's on your roof with our friends over at Hargrove Heart Grove Roofing. Reach out to them at heartgroveroofing.com. And thanks to them, they also have great partnerships with our man Stevie Lee, who joins us on Mondays on the Winning Drive, having a great time. And we've been working with our good friends at Heart Grove Roofing for a while. So thank you to them. And you will be thankful if you reach out to our friends at heartgroveroofing.com.
Okay, Rod, another piece of research I did recently, and both of these articles I'm talking about, you can get it over at ontexasfootball.com. Arch Manning's going to join a pretty exclusive club of Texas quarterbacks. He's going to become the 10th quarterback since the start of the 1989 season that when he makes his first road start, his first true road start, it's going to be against a ranked opponent. Only 9 other Texas quarterbacks since the start of the 1989 season have done that. Rod, would you like to know the 9?
Yeah, that's a great stat. I'm writing this down.
All right. It starts in 1989. Peter Gardere takes Texas on the road. They go to Fayetteville and beat number 7 Arkansas. Okay. Shea Moran's his first start in 1993. Texas went on the road, dropped the 36-14 decision to a Colorado team. That was an 11th ranked Colorado team. And keep in mind, Colorado is not what a lot of people have grown accustomed to Colorado being. Rod, that Colorado team is one of the reasons why you took a visit to Boulder.
I remember that Colorado team. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. James Brown went up to Waco in the regular season finale in 1994. Texas beat Baylor 63-35. James Brown, by the way, in that game threw a school record tying 5 touchdown passes. 1998, Richard Walton's first career road start was against UCLA in the Rose Bowl. And because he got hurt in that game, the following week, Major Applewhite makes his first career start. It was a true road game. Wow. On the road, a pretty forgettable outing, a 48-7 loss to Kansas State. Rod, the next one is a game you were actually involved in 1999 because Major got food poisoning the night before the game. Chris Sims has to start as a true freshman against Texas A&M in College Station on the heels of the Aggie bonfire tragedy. The Aggies win the game 20-16. 2015, Gerard Hurd's first career road start was against 4th-ranked TCU, and I don't need to remind everybody what happened there. 2017, Sam Ehlinger's second career start, first road start in the Coliseum against 4th-ranked SC, and symbolic of his career, Rod, Sam Ehlinger did everything except literally put the team on his back and try to get them across the finish line and just couldn't quite do it in the end. And then in 2022, the game that we talked about earlier, Quinn Ewers' first true road start was that game against Oklahoma State. Now, Oklahoma State was the 11th ranked team in the country. Rod, the record for those quarterbacks is 2-7, but I will say, probably with the exception of the James Brown game against Baylor, the Chris Sims game against A&M, which were extraordinarily unique circumstances, and the Quinn Ewers game against Oklahoma State, and maybe just because those two programs were in different places at that time. In the other 6 games, Texas didn't have the better team.
Yeah.
I think in this game, when you look at Arch making his first true road start, if Texas loses this game, Rod, it's not going to be because Ohio State was a more talented football team.
No, that's good. That's great research right there. One thing I do remember about the Quinn Ewers Oklahoma State game, that's the first true road start you're talking about. The amount of overthrows, because remember they kept trying to throw it deep. I remember, I still got the stat because I pulled it up. He had 14 overthrows in that game.
In like a 40-mile-an-hour wind with a bad hand, and the guy he was throwing to had a broken hand.
It was the most by an FBS quarterback in the last 3 seasons, 14 overthrows. It wasn't working. So don't force the issue. I think that was a lesson that you learned. But great stat. That's money. Yeah.
And I think to sum it all up, Rod, you hit on it earlier. You know, how does Sark handle Arch in this environment? I thought it was pretty telling in the press conference on Monday when Sark said he's just not going to overthink it with Arch. Just go out there and you be you, do what you do. Again, I think Sark trusts Arch Manning about as much as a coach can trust a quarterback making his first true road start against the reigning national champions in one of the toughest places to play in the country. When you look at those quarterbacks, Rod, when they've lost games, one of the common denominators has been turnovers. Turnovers aplenty. So I think it just goes back to composure on the road, take care of the football, don't have the self-inflicted wounds, and chances are you'll be in a position to win the game in the fourth quarter.
Yep, I totally agree with you. And so it'll be interesting to see if Sark's a little bit conservative early with Arch on the road early, or if he decides, no, man, Like I said, I totally trust this guy. The trust factor, I think, will be on display early in that game with a young quarterback in Arch Manning, but he's a Manning.
Yeah. And the other thing too with Arch, and this is what I'm interested to see, Rod. Again, we'll get into this later in the week, but with Trevor Gooseby, with Sark expects him to go. We'll see what that hand issue is, that finger issue, how it plays out throughout the week. But if there's even a shredded out in Sark's mind that this offensive line might not be clicking on all cylinders, this may be one of the games that when we look back on the body of work in the 2025 season, this may be one of those games you look back on and say, man, they ran Arch a lot in the Ohio State game compared to how they handled his workload in the quarterback run game the rest of the season.
And maybe not they run Arch as much, but maybe Arch is running.
Yeah. Yeah.
Protects himself so much. Could be the case.
All right, Rod, thank you for the knowledge and expertise. As always, we'll continue to see how it plays out, and we'll keep talking Texas, Ohio State plenty on the channel and over at ontexasfootball.com, where if you're not a member, get over there right now and subscribe using the promo code OTFOG. When you enter that promo code, that'll get you 1 year of access on ontexasfootball.com for $39.95. Again, the promo code is OTFOG. Make sure you like this video and that you're subscribed to the On Texas Football YouTube channel. That way, whether it's here on the channel or on the site, you've got the latest Longhorn news, notes, and nuggets, everything you need to know about Saturday's blockbuster matchup between the Longhorns and the Buckeyes in Columbus. For Rod Babers, for Matthew behind the scenes producing it, for the entire On Texas Football staff, and our friends at Hargrove Roofing for sponsoring it, I'm Jeff Howe. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And until next time, welcome.
Good morning.